One thing I want to mention is the drain. So my red Solo cup, I got a great new way to use it. Is just drop that thing right over the drain after you cut it out. So I cut out that bathtub drain that had the overflow part here and connected. Just put a cup over it, just to keep all the sawdust and stuff from getting down and clogging up the drain line. So that's just a quick fix to that. So when you're cutting your drain line, zoom in here, Joshua, a little bit. Let me show. Here's the 1.5-inch pipe. Here's a fitting. This is a coupling joining that 1.5-inch pipe to this 1.5-inch pipe. So you want to cut either above or below the actual fitting, because you don't have any way to tie the fitting into another fitting. It's got to tie into the actual 1.5-inch pipe. And every shower drain is 2 inches. So we've obviously got to have room to transition from 1.5 inches to 2 inches. So once I figure out exactly where this, I lay the drain base, or I lay the shower base in and see where that drain lines up with this one, then I'll know if I need to dig deeper to allow for kind of a 45 or a 90 or somewhere to get to it. But just wanted to remind you, you want to cut where you're into the pipe itself and not into some kind of fitting. So I've got water pressure. Obviously the pressure is here and here. And right now everything is beautifully dry. Love that. I want to especially check these sharp bite fittings going into the original PVC, or original PEX rather. Looks good. Now I need to test these two lines coming out to the wand and out to the shower, so I need to put pressure there. So temporary, I'll just open that. Woo, that scared me. Open that shower up. Let's see, push a button. Okay, that's pressure on that's this side. Oh, I heard that one. That's shooting pressure to the wand. That's putting pressure on both. So I'll just let that sit. Full pressure, the shower all the way on, and make sure I don't have any leaks in the next 24 hours before I start on the drywall. So I've checked the level of the, let's see, I'll just go ahead and, nope, I won't put that back on yet. That'll go there. I've checked the level of my floor. It looks really good. Surprising, that's dead on. That's out just a little bit. And the owner's dog decided to come help me with this. That's dead on. So I'm really going to be good setting this base right down on this floor. However, I did notice one thing. Joshua, move in a little bit. So I'll take off my drain cover. Now I know I'm going to have to do a couple things. One is I need to get all of this sawdust out of here, because you know what sawdust attracts. That's right, termites. So I don't want to do that. I also have noticed I've got all kinds of room up under here. I don't know if critters have been digging up under there, but there's a lot of room up underneath that slab. That's not cool. So once I get my drain position just right, I'm going to use a couple of bags of small bags of cement and pour in there, and just I want to undergird that piece of slab right there. You can see the brickwork. That's the original foundation. And again, this is that part that was extended. It may have been extended after the fact then. I kind of think so, looking at that brick right there. Nevertheless, I need to move this, cut that drain, because my drain needs to sit right about here. I measured it out, and off the wall, this drain centers at 3 inches. My drain centers at 4.5. This distance is just right. It's at 17 inches, which that's pretty miraculous. I'm measuring off the line of where my base is going to land. But front to back, I've got to pull it out. So I'm going to need to do a little digging, come up with a, the right fittings to move this whole drain up a little bit. Now remember, in a drain like this that's where piping is all underneath the slab, the trap is under there. So I don't have to worry about trying to create a trap. All I have to do is just move the drain up and then transition it to 2 inches. Let me show you how to connect the drain itself to this Woodbridge shower base. So this Oatly shower drain is exactly what you want to use. Love this kind. As a matter of fact, if you're at the hardware store and you're looking for drains, this will say PVC no caulk fiberglass shower base drain. So you want a drain that's made for shower bases, not for tiling. So this is the cover. This is a little piece that actually fits inside this compartment. And once you get your pipe in there, you screw this piece in there and then put this piece like that. Use a large screwdriver and you tighten that rubber down and it envelops around your 2-inch drain pipe. So that's how you seal it. But to install it to the drain base, you need a pipe wrench. And we unscrew this thing. And what you have is long threads. This is going to be on the bottom. There's a piece of cardboard, and that's between the nut and the gasket. Okay? But for this piece, what you have to do is put some putty on it. How about that? Oatly putty. Oatly makes everything you need for plumbing fixtures. All that stuff is readily available in your plumbing department. Make sure we get nice and soft plumber's putty. Doesn't take a whole lot. Just rub it real good in your arms and create a little snake between your arms. Between your hands, I think is what these are. Okay, let's see how much that covers. Now put that right up against the top. Go ahead and stick it in, because that is going to be my gasket, and there is no better gasket than this plumber's putty. So I got a little bit left. Need a little piece. I was hoping I'd get real lucky and have just enough, but it doesn't matter. I'll take a little ball, roll it between my hands, create a little piece that can fit in there, just like that. And again, all I need, doesn't matter if one's part's a little bit fatter than the other. I'll squish it all together and it'll seal up beautifully. So this part goes on the top side, and to line it up, I just look at it and go, and remember there's a cover over this whole thing, so this will not be exposed, but I'd like to have it as much in the center as I could, and I can tell from this side. So it'll sit up on the curb like that, and I simply take my, again, the rubber goes on first, then the little cardboard piece, which helps it spin. I put my hand on that side, screw this on as tightly as I can to line the threads up properly. I love the smell of that stuff. It reminds me of Play-Doh. Not the Greek guy. Play-Doh. Okay. Alright, that's about as tight as I can get it by hand. Let's cover up our putty. I'm right-handed. It's easier for me to do it this way. I'll just put that baby on there. I just want to get it as tight as I can. I don't want to go crazy because I don't want to break any of this plastic drain fitting. And then at some point, all of it's going to want to turn. I really need the proper tools always help. I need to buy a larger tool to do this with. But I'm kind of cheap. I tend to get by. But sometimes it is a two-person game. Now, if I got that thing pretty tight, I just check and see. And see how all that putty's coming out? I was telling you, I'm doing a great job getting it nice and tight. Or as they say in Germany, good and tight. And I think that one's good to go. Now the trick on placing these things, moving the tools out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and scrape out that big part of the putty. Then I'll take a tool and get the rest of it. I just don't want to create more work for myself and let that dry all hard. Okay, you recall, this is a 60-inch wide shower base. Good. It's good. The Woodbridge. Joshua showed this underneath again. This is unique to Woodbridge, and I think it's a big deal. Other shower bases are fine. This part of it is sometimes just like 6 wooden blocks covered in fiberglass, or I've seen a number of them use like an inch thick piece of maybe 4-inch round PVC pipe, and they glue those to the bottom. Woodbridge has this really strong base. This just stabilizes this whole shower base and keeps it even on the floor, you know, from one end to the other, from one side to the other. So I haven't seen anyone else build one with this type of stability, and their prices are typically less than other people. So that's why I love the Woodbridge base. Let me show you. So it's 60 inches long. It's 5 feet, or 5 feet wide rather. My bathroom is 58.5 inches wide with the drywall. So here's what you have to do. Pick it up. It's not very heavy, really. Bring it back into our shower space. Make sure I have everything out of the way. Move it level. Place that there. Get rid of the caulking. All right, my drain's on this side, so I'm holding it the right way. Okay, so it's wider. I'll never get it in here if I bring it in straight. So what I have to do is bring it in space like this and then angle it between the studs like that. See, as long as I'm moving between my studs, I got plenty of room to bring it in. But then I set it down and I go, oh wow, that thing is super tight. I measured it, and both of these are right at 60 inches. So I would love to lay it down right now. I wish there were like 1/8 of an inch difference and it would lie down beautifully, but it's not going to happen. This thing is, and you got to be careful. It's made out of plastic, so you don't want to break it. But I got a problem here. I can't lay this thing down. This whole base, and I can kind of feel this 2x4, it sticks out a little bit up here. So it's probably not quite level. Let's take a look down low. Sure enough, it's off a little bit. So I'm going to have to take my belt sander and do some sanding on probably all 3 of those. I got to remove probably 1/16 of an inch of wood to be able to get this base to lie down. And then I've also got to move that drain. So I got a couple of things that I have to do. If you're DIYer, it may sound too challenging to do that, but it's really not, honestly. If you go into one of the big box hardware stores, you go to Home Depot or wherever, and you've been in there before in the plumbing section. You see guys just standing there looking at all the PVC fittings, picking them up and looking at them. Well, that's what you'll need to do here. Joshua, if you can zoom in on this drain, so you can even tell with this drain here, it's out much further than that drain. So this is an 1.5-inch drain, which typically it should be a 2-inch drain for a shower. And there's a fitting, there's a coupling, so I can cut it below here and then look for 1.5 to 2-inch fittings that also allow me to make a little bit of an S. And I may have to dig down a little bit. Fortunately, that's just dirt, so I can dig down in that if I have to put my fitting little assembly down a little bit lower to give me the room to make the turn to get up in here. But, you know, worst case scenario, if you go, oh man, I don't want to do that, you can hire a plumber to come do that for you. But it's not that bad. It really isn't. I actually have a little laser, not very expensive at all, and I'll use that when it comes time to lining up this drain as far as exactly where it needs to be in this direction. And I find that a lot easier, much easier to do. Then you can just slide your pipe right down with some glue on the end of it, glue it in place, and let that set up, and then you can attach that fitting, that washer. But got to do a little bit of sanding first before I can set this drain, and I don't think you want to watch that. I like watching paint dry, so we'll come back once I get that accomplished and the drain set up. The Woodbridge shower base is now installed, and it was a little bit of a booger. Excuse me for having to shoot this on my phone. Joshua had to take the afternoon off, but because the studs are set at 60 inches apart in this alcove wall, and the base is 60 inches wide, then this one was especially snug. I had to do a little trimming on some 2x4s on this side and on this side, and I had to slide it in at an angle so that I could, about like that, so I could slide it in and then lay it down. Now, to make sure the back was all the way down, before I did all that, I marked on the studs right there the 4 inches, which is the height of this base. So I wanted to make sure it was all the way on, sitting on the floor against every stud, front and back. So that's really helpful to do. So it's down, it's level. I had a little bit of area over here that was out of level. And so I took some, which you can use this to secure it to the floor. Anyway, mine was so snug I really didn't need it, but simple set, it's ready to use. Thin set is a great adhesive and helps to level things. So while I had the base kind of cocked up in the air like that, I could reach up under and put some of this on the cement floor, and I'd use just a simple trowel with 1/4-inch teeth and just spread that out towards the back part here, and then set it right down, and that leveled it up. Now we're ready for drywall and reinstall the installation that's missing, the insulation. However, let's do the drain first. So you can see down in the drain, that's what I had installed before setting the base on top of it. So now all I need is, I tested it, about a 3-inch piece of PVC. I'll glue this in and glue down in the fitting and slide that in there. But first, I want to go ahead and put my gasket on. So this is the gasket that sits down in here. This is what seals the PVC. And there's 2 ends. There's a flat end or top, and then there's an angled end. So obviously you want to have the flat end up, and it's so much easier just to slide that on to, one hand's a little tricky, but yeah, it's so much easier than try to install that inside the hole. So I'll push it down a little bit, because there's a device in this little drain, this beautiful Oakley drain, that allows me to do that. Now I'm curious, I want to measure how far it is from the bottom of that fitting in there to about 1 inch up in here, to make sure I'm securing that fitting all the way down far enough. Hang on just a second. Okay, had to grab my tape measure. I'm sorry again for the filming of this part of it. I'm having to do it with my handheld phone. So I put that fitting down there and I read, and it's about, as far as I'm gonna get, it's about 2 1/4 inches down. So I want it to come to just about right there, just above that last thread. And you'll see why just in a second. So let me pause. I'm gonna put my glue in there, put my glue on my fitting, and then I'll come back when I set it. Okay, I got that little piece of 2 inch down in there. It's seated really well against that next piece, and the rubber gaskets around it. Now here's how you secure it to make it completely waterproof. You got this little piece of the drain, and you have these notches. So these notches go up. So you simply get it started in there, and straight is key. Okay, so, and then they give you this little piece. So that fits in the notches. And take a big, VHS. It's a big honking screwdriver. And you just give that baby some turns. And then when you can't turn it anymore by hand, I'll grab a wrench for a little leverage. Look at that, one-handed I can do this. But anyway, I'll do that until it's as tight as it can be, that I can't get it to go down anymore, and that drain is absolutely watertight.